Ida here. I'm sitting here by a lovely, lovely stone wall. I'm house sitting for my mom, so this is her wall. but I just think it's so beautiful. It was here when they built the house, so I don't know how old the wall is, um, but it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I thought I'd make a video about earth, really. So I thought this was a suitable background as stones, because that's basically earth in another form. I did a video before on water, and I made a video where I sort of talk about air, and my plan is to make a video about fire too, because I feel that the model of the four elements is really quite useful, even though we know that it's not the way that the Greeks perhaps imagined it. Was it the Greeks? I know whoever were talking about the four elements as making up the world. We know that it might not have been the way they imagined it, but I still think that it's a good model, because there's still the four things that are absolutely essential for our survival. And so today I thought I'd talk about Earth. And with Earth, I both mean the planet Earth, the whole sort of biosphere, but I also mean soil. I'm not really sure how it works in English, but in my language, Earth, as the planet Earth, and soil, the thing that you grow things in, is the same. So, and I think that's kind of suitable, because the soil is on the planet Earth, and we're sort of dependent on both anyway. So the Earth is our home, of course, in the universe. It's where we originate. I think. I know there are some people out there that think that we originate from somewhere else, but I honestly, no. Let's just not get into that. So this is where we originate, and it's our home. We have everything we need here. If we at least don't ruin it. And it's the source of our sustenance. Of course, the soil or the earth is where all the things that we eat grow. It's where all the nutrients that we need are. It's in the soil, and then it's taken up by plants, and then we eat those plants, or we eat animals that has eaten those plants, and that's how we get these things into our bodies. And we're all made up, if you think about it, and that's the thing that I really love, is that if you think about it, our bodies, they're made up of elements, molecules, all of it, that originates in the soil. Because this is just like soil that hasn't become soil yet. Hasn't been ground down to sand and mixed up with organic matter into soil yet. So this is basically the same as this. This is another form, which I think is absolutely amazing. Our skeletons are built up by these minerals. And that's how That's how we survive, by taking up those minerals and those molecules and elements from Earth and taking them into our body and let them become our body. So in that sense, I think that the idea of Mother Earth is very apt, because in a sense I feel like Earth is our mother, because our bodies come from her. And I think that's pretty beautiful. And Earth is, esoterically speaking, it's the element of stability. It's representing the material world. It's representing the body. It's representing health, representing sex, representing sustenance, the things that we need to survive, i.e. food. In our modern world, of course, it would be representing money, economy, finances, work. And it also has all this symbolism of life, because it's life-giving. It's what gives us life, as I mentioned a million times already in this 6-minute long video. I'm horrible. I always repeat myself. But what I was also going to point out, that Earth is also usually associated with death. There is a lot in a lot of cultures. So the underground, the Earth, is seen as where you go when you die. Of course, a lot of cultures have the tradition of burying the dead in the ground. And that is something that is in a lot of cultures, and throughout history we have seen that people tend to put their dead ones back in the ground. Not everywhere, but it is very common. Either you put the whole body, or you cremate, or you remove the flesh and put the skeletons, or whatever. There are a lot of different versions, but some part of your dead loved ones tend to be put in the ground. And of course, if you think of Earth, as I mentioned before, as your mother, you have all this symbolism of, you are born, you come into this world, and you're born, and then when you die, you're sort of put back into the womb of the Earth when you're being buried. What else? There was something else I wanted to say with regards to that. What could that have been? There is also, you might theorize that could also be, burying your dead in the ground could also be a way of preventing sickness from spreading. Earth, in that sense, it's very cleansing. We tend not to think of Earth as cleansing. We tend to think of water as cleansing, or of perhaps air or even fire as cleansing, but we tend not to think of Earth as cleansing. But when you think about it, the Earth, what it does is it makes things decompose, and there are things in the Earth that picks things apart, so it decomposes and gets back into its original pieces. And in that sense, that is also a way of safely, usually, getting rid of harmful things. You put them in the earth first of all. If you put them in and you bury it, you have a sort of a isolating layer above that contains it, so that you will not risk um, being infected or whatever. But then what's going on inside the earth when you put that thing there is that it's being picked apart. So the harmful things are being destroyed by the earth, usually too. The earth is also very cleansing and very protecting. And in general, it has a very strong protective element to it if you think about it. In the past, people would have like cellars. They would put their food, they would store the food underground in holes, or sometimes in caves, because that would prevent the food from going bad because of the temperature and whatnot. It would prevent the food from getting bad. It would keep them protected. And also it will protect you from the elements if you able to build a hut or whatever from mud or and with a roof of reed or clay or whatever, you that is basically earth that protects you. And or for that matter, if you go in a cave, you're also protected from the elements and from the environment, whatever wild animals might try to eat you or whatever. And also if you think about, like, in a more modern sense, I mean, we still live in brick houses. It's still basically earth, right? But also almost everywhere are at least in Europe. I don't know what it's like in the US, but at least in Europe, we have these mountains that are hollowed out, that are made for people. If something should happen, if there should be a war or something, or some kind of nuclear disaster, you're supposed to be able to go inside and live inside these mountains, and they will, from there you will be protected from whatever dangerous thing is out in the environment. So we have all these in like in the ground, into the mountains, and especially like under certain certain buildings, like under hospitals, for instance. There are almost always a lot of underground spaces, so that you can move down there if something should happen on the surface. You can move down there and you can still sort of take care of people and be fairly safe. So yeah, that's Earth, the source of our food, the source pretty much of our bodies, and protection in a number of different ways. I can't think of anything more right now. Should have probably prepared. There's probably a lot more to say, but that's going to have to be it for now. If you like this, please subscribe. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be happy to answer. Thanks for watching.